What's up, guys, and welcome back to the G-Ret Show. I'm G-Ret. So we got to talk Barcelona today. There's a couple topics I want to cover, but most importantly, we got to touch on this Vitor Roque situation. There's some more information that just dropped that I just came across, and it's pretty frustrating. So I definitely want to touch on this for the majority of the video. And I also want to touch on, apparently Barcelona just released the top 3 players that they plan on selling going into next season. It's not a surprise. I think we all could guess who those 3 players are going to be, plus a little more, but I do want to touch on the Vitor Roque situation most, so we're going to touch on that first. Let's get into it. I do want to play devil's advocate for a minute about Xavi and Vitor Roque's side of the story, so I will do that. But first, apparently from a couple different sources, I'm going to read directly from one of the outlets. So apparently from a source, there is a deal between Barcelona and Porto that'll see Vitor Roque head to Porto on loan with an option to buy, and then Pepe, meanwhile, will move to Barcelona on a permanent transfer for a lower fee. So I don't know much about Pepe, if I'm being completely honest, so I'm not really going to give an opinion on him or how that would fit for the club. But what I will say, so I guess this is where we can kind of debate on this Vitor Roque stuff. So I think him coming in at this time of the year, he didn't get a proper training, proper preseason. He's coming in. Barcelona's, they're in the Champions League knockout round at the time he's arriving. The Super Cup was around that time. Barcelona still had a chance to compete for the La Liga title. So there was a lot up for grabs. So I understand him not playing much to begin with. But now we're at the point where you really have nothing to lose. You know you're going to make Champions League next season. I don't know how much of a difference second or third place will make due to the new Champions League format for next season. Obviously, you want to get second place, but you still should be prioritizing the players and playing the players that you want in the future, and seeing, Vitor Roque, what is he going to play like when we need him? What is he going to look like on the pitch? They're not playing him. It's crazy. I don't know what else to say other than it's ridiculous. But here's where I'll try and get both sides. So Xavi, first of all, we should not be prioritizing Ferran Torres or Joao Felix, maybe even Rafinha, as long-term solutions. Out of the 3, from an ability standpoint, I like Joao Felix. But due to I feel like he doesn't even have a real position. I feel like at Atletico, he played as a left winger, a striker, a forward. But the way that he plays, he could play almost as a false 9. He could play as a cam. He's not like a real left winger. He's not making great runs. He wants the ball played to his feet. So it really limits him within Barcelona, because he's not going to play as a midfielder and he's not going to play as a center forward. They're going to play Ferran Torres for whatever reason as a center forward over him, and then Lewandowski. So I don't know what his future is going to look like at Barcelona. I just don't see it. Ferran Torres, we need to get rid of him. You have to. I like Rafinha. I like the effort he gives, and he's fast. He actually is pretty unlucky. He has a really great shot. He hits the post a lot. I feel like he's hit the post 5 or 6 times this season. He could have had a couple more goals. I like Rafinha. I understand selling him if you get a lot of money for him, but I do like having him in the squad because it does provide a lot of depth, and he is good. I do like Rafinha. But we should be prioritizing Vitor Roque to play over Ferran Torres and Joao Felix. He's their future, so they said. Vitor Roque is the future, right? This is why they got him, because they saw him as this Brazilian wonder kid. But you see what Joao Felix and Ferran Torres and Mark Gu, you see all them over Vitor Roque. I don't understand why make the signing if you're going to play these players and prioritize their future, especially when I don't even see them having a future more than 1 or 2 seasons, if that, at the club, when Vitor Roque could be playing at the club his entire career. So that's where I'm extremely concerned. I don't know if it's a Spanish thing, because we all know all the Spanish players, all the young Spanish players, even Hector Fort, Fermin Lopez, they're getting their playing time with Barcelona. Vitor Roque is not. And it's not like Lewandowski or Mark Gu or Ferran Torres or Joao Felix is having all this success. They're not. So why would they not try and play him? That's my complaint. But now where I do see their side of the story, which us as spectators and fans don't see, we do not see what goes on behind the scenes. We don't see what happens at training. Vitor Roque might be lazy. He might have a bad attitude. He might not be practicing well. So you have to play who's performing well in training, and maybe he's not. So I'm not saying this is what's happening, but this is something I'm trying to take into consideration, because we need to have all our sources before we can kind of make a rash decision. So this is one of the options, I guess, that I would use why maybe Xavi isn't playing him, and what he's, maybe why he's saying, okay, we should loan him out so he gets more playing time and he can become a better trainer, better player. I understand that if that's a circumstance, right? So I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. But I still think doing this and potentially wanting to sell or even loan him out after him being at the club for half a season without having a proper preseason, it kind of makes Barcelona look a little embarrassing. Especially everything they're going through, the lack of success from every level, their lack of success, the mistakes they made. They're not extremely well coached. They blow matches, they blow big matches. They're in a terrible financial spot. So, and then this is just like icing on the cake. So it's kind of a joke. But from Vitor Roque's side, they're going to say, "Oh, well, we had other offers. We chose to come here." You did, but you also have to learn that you can't just expect to start anywhere, let alone Barcelona coming in the middle of the season. If they want him for the future, they should at least come out with some sort of proper communication, negotiate properly, and say, "Look, we want to loan him out for a year. We promise he's coming back. We want to use him in the future. We just don't see him in the plans for next season, and he needs more game time if he wants to play. Otherwise, he's going to be riding the bench and he's not going to play." Those conversations could go a long way. I feel like both sides are becoming very hostile. Vitor Roque, honestly, where else would you rather play? It's not like you're going to go to any major club and start right off the bat. You're going to have to prove yourself. So you might as well stick it out with Barcelona, the club that you cared to be at so much, and give it some time. I get both sides, and I can see why both sides are frustrated, but I just think you got him for a reason. Prioritize him in the future over the players that you don't see really having a future at Barcelona after the next season or two, if that. That's my biggest complaint, so let me know what you guys think about that down below. Now next, the three players apparently Barcelona just dropped, that Rafinha, Araujo, and Frankie de Jong, are the three main targets they're going to try and sell for this upcoming transfer window. So, selling Araujo, what are they thinking? He made a mistake. He's made a couple mistakes, and they were terrible mistakes. To be completely honest, you don't make that mistake, Barcelona potentially could be an El Clasico Champions League final in 2-3 weeks. It's as simple as that. But there's not many world-class or even great center backs right now. He's been with the club. He's tall, he's strong, he's big, he's fast. Why would you sell him? I don't understand. You need to sell like 3 or 4 other players before that. That would leave an immense gap. That would leave a big hole for their center back situation. Cabarsi's good. He still makes mistakes that veteran players aren't making. He's going to make mistakes moving forward. And Koundé is good, but I don't know if that's... I'd rather have Araujo starting as a center back. So I think that's an extremely rash decision to try and sell your best center back, a top center back in the world, because of 1 or 2 mistakes. I would be very disappointed if they did that. Now, Frankie de Jong, again, I'm back and forth. I understand it because at the end of the day, from an assist and goal standpoint, his numbers aren't there. Honestly, he gets injured off and on. He's not playing his comfortable position right now, but then again, Sergio Busquets was playing with him for several years, and Busquets was that holding midfielder role, and we still weren't seeing all this crazy success from Frankie de Jong. As great as he is, and as much as I want him to stay, I understand the reasoning behind selling him. If it's for like 80 or 90 million, if it's less, like 50 or 60, I'd probably keep him. Now, Rafinha's the other situation where I like Rafinha. He's grown on me. He works hard. He cares. He gives it his all. I get it. I like him a lot, but I don't think he's a player where he's like that star player that Barcelona is going to prioritize for their future. But he's someone that can give you a lot of minutes, whether it's starting a lot of matches, coming off the bench. He can give you a lot of good minutes. And I do like Rafinha, but the issue is if you get 70 million for him or more, I feel like you have to sell him. Araujo, out of the 3, I think Araujo's the one constant that you cannot sell him. Absolutely not. And then last, about players leaving, it looks like Barca would want to prioritize Joao Cancelo over Joao Felix, which, again, Joao Felix is talented. Joao Cancelo is talented. Joao Cancelo is not the best defender. It doesn't look like he wants to defend, but from what Barcelona has planned and with potentially Xavi Simons and Nico Williams in the mix and potential future for them, I think you have to prioritize a defender over Joao Felix. So for me, I think that's the right call, but I think for sure you have to get rid of Ferran Torres. I would keep Rafinha, get rid of Ferran Torres, Joao Felix, keep Vitor Roque, and then bring in Nico Williams and or Xavi Simons. That's extremely ideal. There's a lot that we just covered, and I'm sure there's going to be more related videos and content coming out about this, talking about the future with Barcelona. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Do you kind of agree with Xavi and Barcelona's side about them loaning out Vitor Roque? What are your thoughts about that whole situation? Do you think either side is acting a little too immature? Or are they acting a little rash? If you guys made it this far in the video, I appreciate you guys sticking around and watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you like my channel, and I hope to see you guys back here next time on the G Red Show.